Welcome back. This is John Locke, and today I'm answering a great question that comes from the Reddit SEO board, and this is about Google ranking duplicate content higher than the original. Now, in this case, the person goes on to say, I'm looking for some input on a situation we're dealing with inside our company. We're a long-standing skydiving website. We've been active for 20 years. We have 150,000 users, and we found something rather disturbing in our search results. We don't use any kind of unethical SEO practices, but we've noticed that a website has been taking our content and republishing it with a backlink to our site. So they just copy pasted, sounds like. But when one searches for the terms related to the title, only the website republishing our content ranks. Their publish date is after our initial publishing date as well. How is it that Google is getting it so wrong that people duplicating our content are taking the first page results, while we need to, click down several pages into the results to get the indexed page from our website? In these cases, even our Facebook post about that URL, our original URL, is ranking higher than our original post. I can only think that there is some sort of penalty being implemented for some reason, or Google somehow and for some reason thinks that the copied content is the original, despite a later publishing date and our fairly good page rank. Now, if you go down into this thread later too, what you will notice, they're a skydiving company. They're out of South Africa. The name of the post in question is called a different way to boogie. So there's a couple things going on here, but I'm going to address like the less important thing first. So the less important thing that doesn't have to do with duplicate content at all is that you're probably searching for your blog post, typing in a different way to boogie or, whatever. And you're seeing that this other skydiving company has ripped you off. They've taken your post, copy pasted it into their site. They're ranking number 1. And yours is not coming up underneath it, but there's other things that are unrelated to that because Google doesn't really know what people are searching for when they're typing in a different way to boogie. There's a hula hoop article. There's a thread on music. So there's all different things. So that's the less important thing. But the more important thing is you have somebody that's copied your pages word for word. And this happens all the time. This is not uncommon. This actually happens quite often on the web. So why is Google ranking this other page above yours? Despite what a lot of people will tell you about duplicate content, the original publish date is not the only criteria that Google uses to determine what page should be the top. It's one of them, but it's not the only one. It's far from the only one. So what more than likely is happening is that the site that has republished your article has a better link profile, and that page or that site has more link equity, link authority, page rank, whatever Google is calling it these days. But it has more of that link juice and link authority going into that page. Now, you say that, you've been around for 20 years and you have 150,000 users, but you have to remember how Google determines when there's, maybe they're not even the only skydiving site that has ripped off your content. Let's say that there's 5 other sites that have copied your content and have put it on their site. How does Google determine which page to put at the top when it has identical documents like that? So it could go by the original published date. That's one thing it could do. But people could very easily just change the publish date on the content. And, that's not a good way to measure. And you have to remember, too, that Google is crawling billions of pages per day and putting them into the index. So it could say, like, if we found the exact word-for-word article, over here on this date in 2015, and then somebody else did it in 2016, and it's word for word, we could compare that. But that's a lot of computational energy. That's a lot of data to compare each thing against another. And I'm not saying that they couldn't do that, but it's a lot of resources just to compare what is the original versus a copy. What actually happens in 95% of these cases when you have somebody that copied your content and they're outranking you is they have more links coming into that page or to their site overall, and Google sees it as more authoritative because Google doesn't know that you've been around for 20 years, doesn't know that you have 150,000 users. It has no way of knowing that. One thing that's easy for Google to determine is the strength of your link profile. Now, how do I know this? I know this because I've seen it in Search Console before when you have not a page, but like a document, like a PDF. I've had this with client sites before, and it makes sense. Sometimes there's PDFs that are distributed, like let's say you're a distributor of certain type of equipment, and maybe there's a ton of distributors that all have that PDF on their website. Well, one thing that I saw a long time ago, and this was in the old version of Search Console, I don't know if it's still like that to this day, but one thing that I noticed is I had a particular client where they had a PDF, and I know for a fact that it was on a bunch of different websites, the same PDF. And but I was seeing in the links, like where it has that column where it says here's the links to your site. It was showing that PDF, but the links that were incoming that it was showing me were not links to that particular page on my client's website. It was links to that page on different websites. So what was really going on is the link profile on my client's site had improved to the point where that PDF on their site was considered the authority version of that document, and we were Search Console was giving us credit for other links, not necessarily like they were linking directly to the PDF on our site, but it was saying basically there's duplicates of this PDF in other places, but we're saying that you're getting the links because we consider this the authority document because it has the most authority, I guess, for a lack of a better word, though that's kind of a loaded word, authority. So despite what people tell you about EAT and Google's omnipotent powers, which it does not have, go back and watch our video on the Google paradox. Google still relies very heavily on links as a determination of authority. And again, when it comes to your site, the best thing that you can do is improve your link profile and observe like what this other site has as far as the link profile. That probably has a lot to do with it. You're not being penalized. There is no Google penalty for duplicate content because half the web would be penalized because half the web is duplicate content. Scraper sites, people are ripping off your content, repeated content across, even the best of brands have repeated content. So it's not a penalty, and there is no such thing as a duplicate content penalty. It would just be impossible to, basically everything in the world would end up getting penalized, and it's just not practical. So again, when I talk about a link profile, when it comes to your document, your page, you're a skydiving site, you probably have some, and I didn't look at the competing site and I didn't look at your site, but what I've seen, where I've encountered this in the past is, let's say that you have, the links that Google would expect to see you have. Maybe you have like a Yelp page for skydiving. Maybe you're a member of the Chamber of Commerce in South Africa. Maybe you have some local links from other businesses in South Africa or something like that. But Google doesn't really see you as, like a major worldwide brand. And probably that other skydiving place, also probably not a major worldwide brand. But if the same article was to be published on something like a website of like a parachute manufacturer or like an airplane manufacturer or something like that, that would probably outrank the other site that's stolen your content because those sites tend to have more links. So things that you might do to improve your own link quality is go for links that are not common or things that Google would not expect to see just for you having a website. So not only look at like getting links from local businesses, maybe other things to do in your area of South Africa, maybe get written up, local news coverage or something like that. Maybe TripAdvisor would be like top 10 things to do in your particular city. Those are all things that would probably help you rank higher. So in the meantime, what can you do about this duplicate content? Well, one, you want to get rid of it. The good thing is you have a legal option here. Okay, so there's this thing called a DMCA takedown. The Digital Millennium Copyright Act is something that is there to protect your original intellectual property. So what you would do is get your site registered here at DMCA, and you can go through them to have them issue a takedown on this other website. And there's a free version of this, and there's also like a paid version of this service. I think it's like $100 a year or something like that. I might be wrong. But basically, register your site with this and say like, hey, this is our original content. One thing that you can do with a DMCA takedown is go to, if you can find out the hosting company of this site, that could be something that you could use. But I would just say directly, contact the site directly and say like, hey, you copy pasted our content. We would like you to take it down. If they don't comply, then you can go to the hosting company, or you can have DMCA file this on your behalf. So I think they have a page here about takedowns. There's, all kinds of personal takedown, commercial takedown, do it yourself. So you can do this right here. Do it yourself. Start your takedown instantly. Stolen location, URL, content source, content type, description. Sign up and create takedown. So you could do this, or you could have somebody do it for you. But basically, you want to contact that other company that ripped you off and give them a chance to make it right. But if they don't make it right, then you can issue a takedown because, as you say, they're stealing your stuff word for word. One thing that you might also do is, have them, you say that they're linking back to your site, and I get that. So if they did not get permission from you, maybe that's what they thought, like they would do that as a means to give you credit, like this originally appeared on your site. But obviously you're frustrated because, your thing is not ranking. I mean, I'm telling you that like in 95% of the cases, you need to get more links to your site and to that page because that other page is ranking higher, not because of schema markup, because that's not a differentiator, not because Google doesn't think that you originally published it like first, but just because their site has more authority as far as links. Maybe uh, you have been around longer. Maybe they're a brand new company, but Google cannot really tell the authority of different companies by how long they've been around, how many customers they have. It's just easier to do it by things that Google can easily measure, such as links. It's just too difficult for Google to try and interpret who is the most authoritative in their field for basically like every profession and every industry in the world. Is just too difficult. So links are used as a proxy. So anyway, if you want to see this other company take your post down, the copy pasted post that you created and put on your site, just reach out to them, see if they'll take it down. If not, you can always do a DMCA. But that's really what it's got to do with, is just when there's more than one version of a document, um, a lot of times it's just whichever one has the better link profile ends up winning. That's It's not a duplicate content penalty or anything like that. You're not getting penalized. It's just that's what Google actually does in reality a lot of the times. My name's John Locke. My business is Lockdown Design and SEO. I'm here every single day making videos on SEO. Thanks to all the new subscribers who have come on recently. I really appreciate it. I gotta go take my dog for a walk before she chews the door down. I'll see you tomorrow with a new video, and until next time, peace.